Are you tired of mediocre haircuts and lackluster service? Look no further. Get ready to redefine your grooming game with the ultimate experience at No Grease Barbershop, conveniently located at Northlake Mall and Charlotte Premium Outlets. It's not just about a haircut, it's about the experience. No Grease Premium in Northlake sets a new standard for luxury with a full-service bar selection. Elevate your grooming experience even further with their signature drinks served during your service or while you wait. Whether you're looking for a classic fade, a timeless gentleman cut, or a bold modern style, No Grease Premium in Northlake got you covered with their design and color specialists. Let's not forget about the importance of routine self-care for men. Their partnership with Alpha Male Nail Care, exclusively at No Grease Premium, offers manicures and pedicures as a part of your routine grooming. Visit No Grease Barbershop at Charlotte Premium Outlets or Northlake Mall today, and make sure you tell them that the Black Dads Club sent you.
Son wanted to get his nails painted. That's the trend. Would you allow him to do it?
No.
Clear cut, huh? What's the explanation? What's the reasoning behind it?
Because that's not our code of what a man is. I don't think that everything's for everybody. It's okay for people to have an identity that they want to stick to.
I'm gonna push back a little bit. What if your son was like, well, that everybody's not the same?
I understand that. Right? But I'll also say, where are you learning this?
Well, what if he says, well, Caleb Williams, #1 draft pick, is doing it.
But
Travis Scott is doing it. He's selling millions of records, Dad.
But everyone's not the same.
I'm just saying, there are successful guys who are doing it. Like, why can't I do that?
It sounds to me like it sounds to me like you're trying to be like someone. It sounds to me like,
well, when we're young, we're all trying to be like someone, right?
It sounds to me like you're trying to be like someone. All right. So if you say, yo, we're not all the same, like, yeah, that doesn't mean anything. We can play that game all day, son.
This tearing y'all generation up. Hold on, how old is Duke? Shout out to the Nice and Neat podcast.
Yeah. It's not tearing our generation up, man. We grew up listening to Prince, Michael Jackson, Boy George,
y'all
seeing
call Prince
RuPaul.
Gay. Y'all call Michael Jackson
No,
gay.
that was never
didn't
us.
claim RuPaul.
We didn't claim, but we didn't bash him either.
Yes, y'all did.
No, we didn't.
Yes,
no,
y'all
we did.
His life story is y'all talking about how y'all bash him.
No. Not if you watch any of his interviews, he always tell you that he never had a problem with Generation X. Not Baby Boomers maybe, but Generation X. That has never been. We have always been a mind your business generation. And and honestly, I wish Dude would have pushed back harder on this.
He should have.
Because this is the problem, right? There's always been men that have painted their nails, right? Marilyn Manson, right? But it's always been seen as, eccentric, right? Outside, right? But if that's what you do, that's what you do. I don't know how this is dripping into the black manosphere. And the reason why I added this video is because this is becoming a question that is not on the question on the white manosphere. Now, to be fair, a lot of times,
talk about that today.
A lot of times the white manosphere take their cues from the black manosphere, and no credit is ever given, right? Thank you, algorithms. But the point of the matter is, like, as a father, you get to dictate what your kid can and can't do, and dads need to push back on anybody saying, well, what if your child want to do this? Like, if my son walked in and he said, hey, Dad, I want to be an underwater welder, right? The first question I would ask him is, all right, cool. Where did you get that idea from, right? Because that's outside of the norm, right? Who did you talk to? What did you watch? What did you see that made you curious about this, right? And then we discuss it, right? Because that's a very dangerous job, right? We discuss it. And everybody would say, that is fair, right? But if my son comes in and say, to use your point last week, as a makeup artist, right? Now if I push back and say, okay, where did you get that idea from? What made you think of that? What did you see? Who have you been talking to? Now all of a sudden it's like, well, I think your generation has a problem.
No, it's not that. What it really comes down to, if we want to be real with it, if your son says, I want to be an underwater welder, you don't question his manhood on that. You question his manhood if he wants to be a makeup artist, if he wants to be a hairstylist. Hold on, I'll let you talk.
No.
Hold on, I'll let you talk.
Okay, go ahead.
The first thing Duke said, when Duke said that, he said, that's not what we say men do. That's the problem that we never address.
When he said we, I'm thinking of him and his son. I'm not thinking of him speaking on behalf of black men.
Yeah, so
as a
that's
whole.
what I'm saying. I'm talking about him and his son, just like I was talking about you and your son, or me and my son. If they come to us, we had a discussion last week. That's why I'm laughing, because it was in there, and I'm like, damn. And to be fair, I had this conversation with other men. It's not just y'all generation. It's not just men. I think my generation, we're here be like, we don't automatically think like, okay, now are you a man? Or is your manhood in question? Am I going to be judged that my son is known as the baddest makeup artist in the Southeast? We don't question men on that. Like, that's what it is. That's what it comes to. Duke showed it perfectly. It was that one little sentence. That's not what men do. We look at it every time a dude, and it gets down to emasculation, and it always comes down to it. Yo,
well, I think it's emasculation. I don't think I don't think it's the ideal of what's masculine, because masculinity isn't performative. Right, masculinity is your actions. It's who you are. When every time masculinity becomes performative is when we trip over ourselves and when we mess up. Right, like if someone says, well, I'll kick your ass. Right, that's performative. Right, because fighting is a skill. Fight has nothing to do with your manhood or your masculinity. You could be anybody, and if you're skilled at fighting, you can kick somebody's butt. Right, so that has nothing to do with masculinity. So I think when it's the stereotype of masculinity or it's performative, then yeah, we trip over ourselves. But the ideal, what I want to focus on here, the ideal that a father cannot force it. I could not wear 4 times size jeans when I was in my parents' house.
Absolutely,
I could not wear. That was a mandate from them. They could not be hanging off of my butt. That was a mandate from my dad. I couldn't do it. It doesn't matter if everybody's doing it. Doesn't matter is how it's being seen. It's, hey, this is my rule for you. And I think fathers are allowed to say, you know what? Because again, right, this is becoming a thing in our community, right? The kid that got drafted by the 76ers from Duke, Dwayne Wade, Shaquille O'Neal, Caleb Williams. This is becoming a conversation where I think fathers can just say, hey, do you? But I said my son couldn't. And I don't really have to have a reason outside of that. Outside of, no, you can't.
Nah, you don't. But that line he said is why you're always going. This is why this is going to continue to be.
And I don't think it should be. I think dads need to just say, hey, like if that's what you wanted to do, right? Not you personally, right?
Yeah.
But the individual, cool, right? But I also think that the opposite is also true, right? It's not what I want to do. Also, cool.
Yeah, it's always, well, that's always going to be the cool way of putting it, because if we keep it real, I can't stop you for doing anything in your house. I can't. You can't stop me from doing whatever I want to do in my house.
Absolutely.
I think once we bring that conversation to the group, because the first thing I would have asked that dude is, what's unmanly about getting your nails painted? And then that would have stopped that whole conversation, because we're going to get 1 or 2 steps away from him showing that he homophobic if I'm just going to just take us there to the next level.
Well, I mean,
with this podcast.
So is painting nails
homophobic?
I mean,
not homophobic.
Is it a feminization of men? Is it
Absolutely.
an emasculation of men?
That's where I think that gray line. I think there's a gray area that your generation trips up.
It's not my generation. This is everybody.
Yes, no, it's not.
This is everybody.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is, because again, right, when you think of Marilyn Manson, Kiss, all those individuals, right? Like it was the same questions then, right? But it was just one of those things where it was like it was seen as this is eccentric.
Mike, my generation and the generations after me, they go to the nail salons regularly. When your generation, the generation before you said, hey, we should go get our fingers taken care of, y'all was using the F word, calling people sissies and everything else.
I see, and again, did not experience that because
How old was you when you got your nails done?
Probably in my early 20s.
Exactly. But that's what I'm saying.
But I mean, there wasn't women going to the nail salon in my early 20s. Like, it was not a nail salon on every corner. Growing again, I think I think sometimes you forget that the 90s and the early 2000s, there was a huge shift in everything. Technology being one of the biggest things. We went from VHS to digital. Like it's on nothing anymore. Right? So I think sometimes you wake up and you're like, man, I woke up in this generation where it was salons on every corner. It was cell phones that took pictures on every corner. There's a generation where that did not exist. So things were different all around. Like even the idea of going to get your nails done. It was like there were not press-ons that you have now, or acrylics that you have now, or gel that you have. None of those things really existed in the 90s, bro.
As a person who grew up with a sister in the 90s, yes, the fuck it did. Stop it.
It did not. How old were you in the 90s?
Mike, I was born in 89. We can't act like I'm 27.
That's what I'm saying. So you were 10. There was not folks just going to the salon. When I went to college, there were not girls that was like, yo, I am going to get my nails done every Thursday.
All right.
Now, when you went to college, that probably was more so the case.
No. Oh, absolutely. But here's the thing. I'm telling you, we can't act like it's this big gap. I'm watching the Aaron Hernandez FX show that just dropped last night. I encourage everybody to watch it. They dropping F-bombs, which I really want to get to that, Doc, because I believe y'all keep showing how he was homosexual early before his father died, because y'all would have got killed for putting that out there. I'm just saying that.
I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it.
Well, now you got to start paying attention to the politics of how they start scripting shows so they don't get called out for it later. So that's all. Yeah. But what I want to say is, like, that, one thing, the hardest part of the show is watching his dad call his brother gay for the way he ran. Because Aaron Hernandez's brother, his older brother, wasn't as good as Aaron Hernandez. That was a thing, Mike. In the 90s when we was growing up.
I'm not saying that homophobia doesn't exist.
No.
I'm saying that
well, I can't get the point out.
Okay, go ahead.
What I'm trying to say is, who was the most homophobic generation? Boomers? Absolutely. Did it trickle down and get easier as time went along? Yes. But I think boomers are dying. So that generation that was still more homophobic, I don't think we look at your generation and my generation and say, yo, Gavin's generation is more homophobic. We don't.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying just that this idea that homophobia just exists, like it's not even in a bubble. It just comes out and just grabs every man that anytime he goes to get his nails done, right? When I say get nails done, I'm talking about like actually just getting a pedicure or manicure, something that I actually do, right? Yeah. But when you start saying, okay, I'm adding acrylics and I'm adding gel, when men say, okay, that is a emasculation at that point, right? That is not unfair for men to say. It's like, hey, that's an emasculation.
Why? How?
If you're look, I'm not saying that.
That's exactly what you just said.
No. I'm not saying that Saucy Santana isn't a man or whatever he wants to be, right? But what I'm saying is, when you say that, like, for a man to tell his son that, no, son, I'm not going to allow you to do that. To say that man is homophobic, that is incorrect. That is improper. When that man becomes grown and he can do whatever he want to do, again, when we see RuPaul, there was no Generation X outside of the studios when he had his show said, take RuPaul off TV. It just doesn't exist. Men mind their business. Let other men. So you tell me that black men was outside of the studios black of RuPaul's show?
They probably wasn't allowed in the studios. I can't allow us to act like those stories don't exist when those men tell the stories. When we have Diana Ross coming out and saying, yo, I was with Luther and he couldn't live his life because they told him he couldn't have a career. When we see white artists who would come out and say, yo, they told us, Elton John, there's countless stories of homosexual men who live.
Bro, you're talking about the 60s and 70s.
I'm gonna just let you talk. Yeah,
well, because you're connecting a 2010 narrative to something that's 50 years ago.
I'm telling you their narrative. You tell me
50 years ago.
You got it.
So Elton John was telling you in the 90s he was suffering from people discriminating against him in the 90s. Or is he telling a story of how it was in the 50s and 60s?
There's countless artists who told you, yo, they told me I couldn't have a music career until this point. When I fed up and was just like, fuck it, this is me. They gave you that. They told you all of this. I'm telling you they stories. We've heard RuPaul tell. If you watch RuPaul's show, he sits there and tells you how hard that shit was for him. I don't care who you are, gay, straight, everybody can believe what they want to believe about Luther. It's the reason why he has zero connection to any woman. And once he passed, black women came out and said, yo, we knew he couldn't say nothing because of his career. Like, we know this. Like, we can't look. Growing up, stories about Prince, these stories were there, bro. So I just don't want to act like it doesn't. Now, when it comes to this dude, I'm not saying that he's saying that, yo, if you get your nails painted, you're homosexual. I'm not saying that that's what Duke said, especially because he has a big platform and I know he chooses his words wisely. I do want to say he threw a line in there is that's not what men do. So when you throw that line in there, it is allowed for me to interpret that, hey, that's what men don't do. Because I'm just using the flip of what you just said. I wish dude would have pushed back and was like, what's unmanly about Dwayne Wade, who, for better or for worse, however you want to see him, jokes or non-jokes, is a heterosexual man getting his nail done. There's dudes on the block who are real men, whatever you want to define that as, and we're not saying they not masculine. Then we're gonna get down to, all right, if I get my nails buff versus they just look rugged when I leave. Some people nails are so buff that you think they have polish on them. We're not gonna look at that man.
I think that's whatever. Again, I think that's whatever it is that you're comfortable with. But to this point, this conversation is about what a father can allow in his home. This conversation wasn't about what men can do. I have clearly said men can do what they want. But if you say that, hey, well, this should also be, if you push back against your child, you're moving into the territory of homophobia. No, you're not.
Yo, I didn't say that. I agree with your point.
Yeah.
Because I agree.
That's my point.
Oh, yeah. Well, I agree with your point. I said from the beginning.
I know, but you bring it in, homophobia and Prince and I'm saying, like, as men, we have by and large minded our business when it comes to what other men do.
I don't agree with that.
We have by and large minded our business.
I don't agree with that at all. Because we was the last generation to stop using the F word. The only reason why I brung up homophobia with bruh, because I said if I was there to ask him that question, once he fleshes that out, I think he's going to be 2 steps away from showing that he's homophobic.
But this is the thing, though. I think you and I think a lot of people do this. We combine sexual orientation with emasculation. And those 2 things can actually exist in 2 separate worlds. Oh, they don't have to exist together. So I think it's an easy reach to say, well, you're reaching over here towards somebody orientation because they're being emasculated. When the truth is, it's like, hey, there is a designed behavior. There's an agreed upon behavior that once you're outside of that agreed upon behavior, you're an outlier at that point. And there's going to be consequences as being an outlier in society. Now, as society changes, it may move towards you, right? But when it doesn't change, you are going to be an outlier. Galileo spent the rest of his life locked up in prison because he said, you know what? The sun does not rotate around the earth, right? Mm-hmm. Eventually, society moves towards him. He gets no benefit from that. So in society, if you are eccentric, outside of it, eclectic, yes, society is going to have to move towards you. Perhaps it may never do it. But as a man in his home, I am adamant. A father could tell his kid no to whatever he wants to say no to. And that does not make him, he could be, but him saying no is not indicative of that.
Nah, absolutely. And for the record, I agree with that. I just wanted to take the conversation a different way. And I think that Duke is going to have a hard day out with any man and any community trying to describe what is a man and not sound. And going back to his nail point, you're going to have a hard day out. And that goes back to my point of last week, which I think that, we can't argue 2 things. But once we agreed upon on, this doesn't, you could do whatever you want to in your house. Who cares? Bet. If you think you want to have gender roles about your 6-year-old not having a gender, cool. In your crib, that shit works. Have fun. Have at it. Deal with the repercussions.
But when you come in the real world.
It's not even coming in the real world because you just do what you want in your house. And that's the problem.
Or the rest of the world, not the real world.
Yeah,
the rest of the world.
You got to understand when some people might not understand it. But I think the rest of the world got to wake up one day and be like, you know what? Maybe we got that wrong. And I'm not even talking about this situation anymore. I think the rest of the world, as time, like what you just said, I want us to stay clear. Like, all right, we agree. All right, now we getting new information. Now we was wrong. Now let's correct that. And so it is what it is. I think that older men, my point after we got past all of that is, I think older men, and not just you, we talking about my father's age range. We talking about my grandfather's age range. We talking about those men. Sometimes, bruh, you call any older man in his 50s, 60s like, yo, your 20-year-old son is, I saw him in a hairstylist braiding hair. You remember when that was a problem in the 90s? Y'all wouldn't even let men braid hair. That was a thing. That was a thing, man. So much so that in barbershop, or was that beauty shop, that was a whole stigma in the barbershop. Like, yo, you better not be in there braiding hair. We can't act like that generation wasn't alive in the 90s. And I think sometimes when me and you have this conversation, you be acting like, oh, no, that shit didn't exist. And I'm
I don't act like it doesn't exist.
Yes,
But I also make sure that men don't catch the brunt of what a few men do, right? And you know, I always am going to hold back on that. Like, yo, are there guys that have done this? Absolutely, right? Were there guys that use, the F word? Yes, absolutely. Like when I grew up, it wasn't even a word based around orientation as much as it was based around just being an insult, a slur, or softness. It wasn't even based around orientation. It became that, right? So like a lot of people were just like, whoa, I mean, I wasn't really expecting that to happen. Same thing with the word, retarded, right? It became a word that we pulled out, right? It was never meant, no one actually meant you were actually slow. It just meant that you did something really stupid and like, come on, like what's going on? So a lot of times when the words are used or when we're using words, there is no ill intent of that specific individual. It is like, hey, I'm just referring to you and what you're doing right now. It is literally just meant to be insulting amongst friends, right? And then you have men that have to fight off that, oh gosh, well, I'm not that way. That's not actually who I am. It's like, well, that's not really what I meant. And that's what I'm saying. I don't let men take the brunt of it. Yes, some men have done these things. The vast majority of us are decent individuals.
Okay, I agree with you.
Yeah, the vast majority are decent. Even if you want to say like, words that are used, the slurs that are used. We had this conversation like 2 pods ago about private conversations, right? Like, to me, that's not indicative of who somebody is if there's an intent of a private conversation. I don't think that shows like this is who the person is. I think when a person walks outside of their door and interacts in society, that's who that person is, because we don't know who people are when they go back inside them doors. Fact. We only know who they are when they walk outside of it, and that has to be our assumption, not what I wonder what's going on when I don't see them. Like, we can't interact with people like that.
Since we beat up that conversation, I want to welcome everybody to the Black Dads Club. This is episode 156, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I put 156 up on the board. I don't know. I want to welcome everybody to the Black Dads Club. I am your co-host, Gavin B, a.k.a. Coke. Y'all saw me in Kentucky. We're going to get to that later. I got the host here, Pastor Mike Will.
Welcome, everybody. Appreciate everybody tuning in.
Look, this what happened when
dealing with us.
This what happened when you come to church early. You get a little pre-message, man. When they used to sing before church started.
Yeah,
that used to be the good song.
Yeah, the good song.
Yeah, so that's what happened when you get to church early. Dad tip of the week. What you got for us? Yes,
I know we done started the pod hot and heavy, and that was actually controversial. So I know y'all still here on that one. But dad tip of the week this week, man. This is a little bit somber. I got a message that came in. It's not bad. But any father that's listening right now or mother that's listening right now, go and make sure all your firearms are secure. If you have a lot of firearms, sell them down or move them to somebody's house that don't keep kids, right? So if your parents keep grandkids, don't send your guns over there. But secure your handguns. A friend of mine reached out this morning and let me know that somebody that they knew had 3 kids, had an 8-year-old, and the boyfriend, 3-year-old was over there. And they basically picked up his firearm, and the 8-year-old shot the 3-year-old.
Damn, man.
So that's something that has happened. I went and double checked my firearms as soon as I heard that. So just if you listen to this, go home, double check your firearms. If you got long rifles, take them apart. If you got handguns, get the little case, man. A little case, you can get a little case that locks. I think they're about $100 that you can do the combination code. It might be $150. I don't care if you got to get 10 of them. It'll be worth something not happening.
Yeah, absolutely. That's sad, man. I was thinking about that last week when you was talking about that story that you had to show your son, that video. And I was thinking, I was like, man, we get into this space now where it's like, and I understand, I don't want to go back to it, but we're going to have to start holding parents accountable.
Yeah.
And accountability is the only way we can stop some of this stuff, especially when it affects other people. I'm not talking about the story you just told, but I'm kind of going back to like the whole thing with the school situation. That boy went there and come to find out his dad didn't have anything locked up. His dad gifted him this. Yeah. He had 24/7 access to it. all right, now you're asking a person whose brain isn't fully developed to act like a thoughtful
an adult.
You know what I'm saying?
Like
And
an adult.
it's sad, man. And it goes back to my sister, even my nephew. She was like, yo, I've shown him this. I've shown him, put it here. I let him know this. It's no coming back from this. And you know, that's the scary part about these kids. Not saying this is what happened in none of these situations. Yeah. People think they can respawn in life, bro. And you go through life and people think that guns don't hurt, cars don't hurt, speeding doesn't hurt. You know, I always ask guys when we sit around and talk, like, damn, what age did you think, like, yo, I can live life, like I can't die? And sometimes when you talk to people, it's that, yo, up until like 21, I thought I could just be whoever I want.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a minute, and like I said, I mean, you know, humans are going to human, you know, but the tragedies are the things that you could have prevented. So if we can, you know, prevent that, like I said, I hate to be like super somber, but I do want, you know, if you are a father, buy the safes, man. Go to the gun store, but get the little handgun safe. Put a combination on that your kid's not gonna know. So nobody's birthdays. Use your PIN number. Nobody knows your PIN number. Like, your wife don't even know your PIN number to your card. So, yeah, allegedly. So, you know, put your PIN number in there, man. You know, for the code to the safe, and lock up these firearms, man. So our kids, you know, are safe.
Me and Mike have to find a unique way to start doing two a weeks of podcasting, because when something happens, something seems to keep happening in between our Tuesday recording.
Yeah.
So we leave here, we go about our business. Life is great. Life is beautiful. And then I see Shannon Sharpe name trending on Twitter, which is always scary for me, because you always think people pass now. And with Woj gone, we're going to get to Woj in a little bit. All these rumors is about to just get worse and worse, right?
Yeah.
So I see Shannon Sharpe name trending. I'm like, what's going on? So I open the live, and you know what we saw. By now, everybody's seen it. Shannon was on there getting freaky, which goes back to my other things. I have a very disdain for Mike's generation. But Shannon might be older than that. He older than that.
No,
right?
I'm at the bottom of Generation X. So okay. Shannon would be at the top of it.
Okay, cool. And I think that some of these individuals have to get off the internet, or you can't run your own social.
We old folks. We get there, and I'll chime in with the old folk. I think last week the first time I like finally agree with you. I think two things happened with the older generation of my generation. I was just like, all right, y'all about to make Gavin have a point, and I don't like that.
Look, I'm telling you, Shannon. When I seen Shannon having sex on the internet, or we heard Shannon getting busy on the internet, what was your initial thoughts?
I mean, you know, my initial thoughts is like, man, I hope this never happens to me. Like that's always my initial thought. So I actually went to Instagram, was just like, yo, how does this thing just pop on? And then I went there and I was just like, oh, it doesn't really pop on.
Not at all.
So it was intentional.
You have to start it.
Yes, you have to first of all, you got to get to Instagram, then you got to get to the live, and then you got to start it. It's like 4 steps. It was either 3 or 4 steps.
My favorite part is, all right, if you getting busy, if your other phone is going off, do you stop getting busy to answer your phone?
My other phone going off?
Yeah.
No, I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping. You know. Now I have specific ringtones for specific people. So
you one of those?
Yeah. So if there's a ringtone that comes through, I mean, cause it's like, yo, chances are if I'm getting busy, I don't have my son. So the ringtone of his mother comes through. I do have to look at the time and be like, okay, does she need me to grab her from school? Yeah. You know, like, so to answer your question, there are occasions where it's like, all right, I might have to answer my phone.
I'm gonna figure out what's my ringtone on your phone.
So
I better have something different.
No, you don't call me. Gavin don't call.
I sure don't.
So that's what, you don't have one.
I don't call people, and I don't answer phone calls. Shout out to Ben and Ryan. They love calling me just so I can deny them.
So, but my phone is gonna be in my hand most of the time doing really good sex anyway. Oh gosh. But I'm not going live.
Should we get to the Michelle part?
No, I mean, do we think this was real? Is the point.
Do we think this is real? I think or staged.
I think it's staged.
So do we think it's? I don't know. I can't trust Shannon anymore. I ain't gonna. I don't know this man to save my life. I don't know if I could trust Shannon anymore. Do I believe that Shannon is getting to the point of his life where every move he makes is calculated? Kind of like when Travis Kelce was like, his team was like, we're going to sue the person who leaked that him and Taylor are supposed to break up on this day and this is how they're going to follow up. Like, I've told y'all many times, I don't believe Michael B. Jordan and Lori Harvey ever dated.
You have definitely said
I stick by that.
I think he was in love with her, though.
I don't doubt that. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think he was in what Lori Harvey was supposed to do for Michael B. Jordan and what he was supposed to do for her made so much sense to me that I believe they publicist was like, hey, we have two different problems. We can help each other. Yeah. So do I think that Shannon's getting to that part of not that, hey, this can help your career, but hey, this is going to generate numbers to follow up with the success we've been having.
When I first saw it, I felt a little bad for him. And then I went and saw how many steps it took. And I was like, okay, the only way that this happens is if
Shorty did it,
right? And I was like, and if that's the case, like, yo, I feel bad for him again. Mm-hmm. But his subsequent conversations where he's like, Cat Williams, like, well, you're not gay now. And then, in the purse conversation, I was just like, all right, now it seems like I dropped the video. I had instant regrets. Mm-hmm. But then once I saw that, the feedback was positive, I owned it.
Yeah.
I don't really like that, man. Like
I feel like he pulling a Kim K on us.
I'm sick of fake news on the internet. Not to sound like Trump. I'm talking about real fake news.
No, JD Vance said we can create stories to make y'all pay attention.
Yeah, I don't like that, man. Like if you want to create a story, like if you want to, Little Red Robin Hood me, make it a real story, man. Like, don't use real people. Like I like my fiction to be fiction. I don't like this crossover fiction that we do. This fiction, nonfiction thing that's going on right now on the internet. And I admit I am getting old. So I am getting ornery and cantankerous. I feel it coming. I am 100% going to be the get off my lawn guy at 65, right?
Yeah.
So I know it. I see it coming. But for right now, that's not me yet. The kids can play on the lawn. I don't care. But the fiction, nonfiction thing is killing me. And with social media, when it comes to Shannon, it's giving fiction, nonfiction.
It is. Let me have my fun right quick. I think y'all creepy for growling in girls' ears. I'm sorry, man. I ain't growling. Ain't not one lady out here can say I growled in her ear. I might hit you with the 3-piece grunt. You know what that growl did teach me? Don't laugh, man. I have learned I don't talk during sex.
Oh, man, bruh. Man,
I'm not a talker.
Hey, man, I need to step your game up, bruh.
Yeah, I realized that because I love the talking. But I realized, through research of what I've been told since I watched the video one too many times and she was like, yo, you keep watching that. I'm going to tell you about you. So she went into details what I don't do and I don't talk. And then I was like, let me test this theory. And then I listened. I was like, damn, I ain't said shit since it started.
Come on, man. You got to talk, man.
I do. I need to step it up.
The growling thing, I ain't gonna lie, man. A chick put me on, so.
One part I did, like, if you got kids in the car, this is where you hit that fast forward button.
You got kids in the car. You probably should have turned this off at the beginning.
Absolutely, man. Do what work best in your crib.
That is true. Do what works best in your home.
Yeah, so if you want them to hear this, oh well. Don't sue us later, though. We have no facts of today. We sharing our opinions only.
Yeah.
I laughed at how many women on the internet were surprised that, yo, wait, y'all be calling chicks names? Nothing throws you off the first time when a girl be like, yo, call me this, and it's a degrading name. Yeah. And it's like during sex. I saw that conversation on the internet. Chicks was like, yo, what you mean? Y'all be calling chicks bitches, sluts? I'm like, yeah, they be asking for it.
They be asking for it, man. We don't be just coming off the hip with that. They be telling us like, yo, I need you to dig in deep.
Yeah.
Like I need you to dig into your misogyny bag.
Yeah.
Doing sex.
The homegirl who you think ain't getting cracked every weekend likes to be called a dirty little slut.
Yeah.
While I'm slapping her across the face. Never mind.
Yeah. No. That's what it is, man. It's what it is.
That is what it is. Shannon, I no longer trust you. Shannon, when Joe Budden get back to work, Joe Budden, we're gonna get to you, buddy. That was you did disappear in the nick of time. When Joe Budden get back to work.
Totally unrelated.
Unrelated, totally. Quote. I do believe that Joe Budden and Shannon gonna have to see each other face to face, but I hope Shannon don't. For those who not know, Joe Budden been making a couple of quotes about Shannon's sexuality, even after the tape, but they're all jokes. But Shannon don't like that joke.
Yeah, he does. I mean, look, I'll be honest. I don't think I like a joke. Like if somebody was just like, yo, does it, you question somebody's sexuality. I think that does. And we just talked about the older generation, right?
Yeah.
Shannon is older than me. He's much, much older than me. So why it might not bother me as much, probably wouldn't bother you at all.
Yeah.
Guys 10 years ahead of us, yeah, they don't play that. And Shannon's a big guy, so Joe needs to chill. Yeah, pause.
My Michelle. Yo, I like that. I was like, when he was in the I said, this old nigga getting off in that. What's Michelle paid for?
I mean, you pay one way or another, regardless.
This nigga so PC, man. Politically correct on everything.
I was just saying, no, that's the truth. You're gonna pay one way or another, man. They are going to extract resources out of you. There's no free kitty.
Speaking of extracting resources, y'all know I went to Kentucky this past weekend. First of all, I will say this: black men, go to Bourbon Fest. All the black people, I want to thank everybody in Kentucky that I saw, whether it's in Louisville or Lexington, that when we made eye contact, we gave each other the nod to say, yo, if something pop off, it's only 15 of us. I
got you in Kentucky.
Yeah, I got you. I do love that. I will say Bourbon Fest was, they different out there, bro. When it come to drinking, they different.
Yeah.
One of the boys, his brother-in-law came over. This dude cracked a beer open. It was 8:30, bro. And he
hey man, it's football season.
It was Friday though, so that's the problem.
Oh, I tried to shoot your bell, bro. I tried.
It did not work. The joke of it is
bell denied.
Jim Beam. We went to Jim Beam. We just drove through it. Jim Beam has a church on their grounds, on their distillery. They have a church, a real church.
I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
My favorite drink that I had out there, I did get some lavender bourbon. I'm gonna bring it in just for Mike to taste. He can only get one sip of it until I get more bottles. I had a mimosa that was champagne, but instead of orange juice, it was bourbon.
Wow.
I was so drunk on that plane.
That sounds like so.
This is before I called you.
Yeah, this sounds like something. And Gavin never called. I knew he was drunk when he called. So I picked up. I was like, make sure this boy can't get in touch with his wife and not locked up somewhere.
Matter of fact, it just hit me. I called Mike drunk.
Hey, let me make sure he ain't about to get locked up. And I need to go do something.
This is the part of the podcast that if you're in the car with your wife and you was with me in the last 15 days, you should hit that 15-second button 30 times. Went to a strip club out there. Shout out to PTs. Only thing I gotta say about PTs is I hate strip club politics. So first of all, I told y'all a month ago that I'm not going to no more strip clubs. Guess what happened? It was 1:00. The boys was laughing. We had just debating if Kevin Garnett is a top 5 power forward of all time. We called Mike with this.
He is.
After we called Ezra. Mike is only saying that because he's from Columbia.
He's from Malden. He's from South Carolina, though.
How far is that from Columbia?
A good bit. It's near Greenville.
Oh.
Greenville.
Oh, yeah, and they different.
Yeah.
Because they think they from Atlanta, but they country. So we had that conversation, and then we was like, let's go to PTs. Now, let me tell y'all about PTs or PLs or wherever it's called, man. Strip club politics I don't like. I don't believe I should have to tip on the walk-in.
Like, just charge the right amount.
Why am I tipping the girl who is taking my money? It's not like she's like, yo, I let y'all in free. Y'all just look out.
I've told you, tipping is out of control in the United States, man.
But in the strip club, that doesn't make sense. Why am I tipping this shorty on the walk-in?
Is she a stripper? Like, did she gonna strip later that night?
She's just a cashier. I didn't know. I didn't see her. She ain't wearing my type.
She dressed like a stripper?
Nah. She had on regular clothes. Now I'm thinking about it.
Oh yeah, that's
bro. And then it's always the horny ass bouncer who's trying to pop her. Who's like, yo, man, y'all should tip her.
Y'all gotta make sure you. He trying to make sure, like, shorty, I'm getting you paid tonight,
bro. I looked at him and I looked him up and down. I ain't gonna lie, he was a big dude, 6'3", 6'4", probably close to 300. You know how much I weigh. I looked at him and I was like, all right, and I just walked off. I'm like, I can't stop somebody from getting a CPCC degree. For I'm about to pay for 1 credit hour of college, of community college in here. I can't do that by giving her money. I didn't like that.
I gotta give it to the people that's actually putting in the work.
Facts. And shout out to the white girl who came up to me and asked me was I albino, and then she rubbed my face. And she said, I could tell she was so drunk, so not my type.
You are in Kentucky at a Kentucky strip club.
Yeah, and out there they don't show titties.
That's not a strip club. Y'all didn't go to a strip club. You need to stop telling people that. You did not go to a strip club.
Went to a burlesque
Yeah,
club?
I went to yeah.
Yeah, I thought all the chicks had makeup on their titties. The whole time I thought everybody had makeup on their titties. And so it wasn't until later that I was told, like, no, bro, they had on like clear ass Band-Aids to like hide it. That's what it was. You couldn't show nipples. So they took out their tops, but you could. But I mean, and then it was funny because we had
That's why I stopped going to strip clubs, man.
Facts. And I ain't got to there yet.
Disappointing.
We had a conversation later about how much, when it comes to strip clubs, how much nipples and areolas mean to the paying customer.
If I go into a strip club, I would expect the women to be naked. If I go into a strip club, like that's sort of my expectation. Like you don't have to start naked, but there's an expectation of nudity. There's an expectation. I don't think
from the Southeast, by the way.
I don't think that is unfair of me to expect in a strip club. I don't think so. Like the whole, I feel like that's why I'm here. I expect to see
Something. A lot.
a person stripped down. Like I think that's the whole point of calling it a strip club. I don't think I'm being a chauvinist by expecting to see nudity in a strip club.
Facts. And that was also the reason. Oh, just to report back to Mike. That's why I was there. We did this for Mike. Shorty asked me to go to the back. And I didn't, only because she told me she was stripping with her sister. Wasn't into that.
Stripping with her sister?
She said, we have shitty dad. We have a shitty dad. That was her word.
I have so many questions. Is it like her real sister, like her half sister, step sister?
Half sister. They different moms, same dad. She said, we got a shitty dad.
Are these Euro Americans?
They were black. They were sisters.
Oh, they were sister. All right.
Future came on.
I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah, it threw me off. I wasn't into that. I'm not into that taboo section on Pornhub. But I will say, the only thing that did throw me off was I'm
not judging it, by the way.
Yeah, Future said he did it. But the thing that threw me off though, I was like, how much? Because now that's my bag.
Yeah. How much for the private dance?
$60
$60
in Kentucky.
That's not a bad price for two.
No, it was just for her. It was gonna be $60 for her sister too for one dance.
Oh, $120 for a 2.5 minute song?
Yeah.
For Bums of Bad Dad? Yeah, no, thank you.
I looked at her.
Y'all got me with that on the strip club before though. My God.
I said, nope. You remember when Red came up and got Day? I mean, not Day. Damn, what's my man in Friday when he got Debo punched him for his bite and his dad got out the car? Damn, I forgot that comedian's name. But anyway, he was like, nope, that's what I hit her with. I was like, nah, sis, we good.
$120 for your 3 minutes.
And then she was like, well, we could do 3 songs for her. She was like, well, for me, it'd be 3 songs for $100. I was like, I'm good. I told Mike I wouldn't do it again.
Yeah. I mean, 7 minutes, $100. Yeah, that's just
I pass.
I can't do it.
Yeah,
can't do it.
I
really don't do strip clubs, man.
But I will be back. I heard Portland is the strip club capital.
Portland it's a lot of stuff going on in Portland right now.
Can't you do all drugs out there?
Yeah, and then Oregon, like itself, Oregon the state is probably like the most racist state in the country. Yeah. Like it's up there with Louisiana, bro. Like I just like it's crazy. Oregon is a weird state, bro.
Really?
Yeah. So it would not shock me that Portland strip clubs are probably insane. Like yeah probably Badlands insane. Yeah, I can imagine that.
We not here to act like we CNN, ABC, MSNBC. Who your favorite news people to watch? The Guardian?
No, I mean to your point. No, I read a lot of Guardian. Al Jazeera actually.
Huh?
Al Jazeera. I get most of my news outside of the United States because if you want to know what's going on in the United States, they report it. They tell you what's going on in the United States, whereas our news people try to act like it didn't happen. So I read a lot of The Guardian and I watch like a lot of Al Jazeera. If I want to know what's going on in the world, I'm probably tuning into Al Jazeera. Now they're not gonna tell you what's going on in the Muslim world, but I don't live in the Muslim world.
Yeah.
So everybody has their biases. So you like find a person that don't like the people that you need to get information on.
They give it to you.
They're gonna have all the information.
The reason why I asked is because I wanted to talk to Mike about we're gonna talk about Diddy. We ain't the news. We not trying to act like we're the news. And we're not going to really, I guess the only thing about Diddy, he got denied bond twice. Go listen to The Breakfast Club if you want to get in depth.
I might listen to them regarding Diddy just to see how they handle it. So I think that's the curious part. Did they go in or did they?
Yeah.
Or did they seem worried?
No. Because I don't think they on Revolt no more. Or if they were, I think a lot of people, from what I've gathered, Joe Budden turned on him. Diddy, Charlamagne and them. It seemed like everybody, like, you can't stand near him anymore. You couldn't.
Yeah.
Which has to be a lonely place to be in. However,
I'm not gonna feel bad for Diddy.
well, you know how I feel.
Yeah. And here's the thing: I'm not gonna bang on him either, right? Like, I mean, you can. I'm just saying, like, I'm not, but I'm not gonna feel bad. Like, I mean, there was so many places to dislike him way prior to making of the band. I think making of a band is where you kind of saw his making of the band, whatever they called it.
Yeah, making a band.
Yeah, I think that's when people start kind of seeing his
assholeness.
Yeah, like his personality. Facts. But so there's so many places to dislike him prior. When I say dislike him, I'm not for, advocating for somebody losing their life or losing everything, but your consequences are going to be your consequences. And Sean Combs represents everything that we talk against as productive black men, right?
And Hollywood.
Yeah, and Hollywood, right? So whether it comes from, women giving up their wombs to criminal elements, right? Well, what is that called? Hybristophilia, I think.
You the smartest.
Yeah, so it's like, that's a constant complaint of men. Like, yo, you expect me to come in and raise a kid when you've had a kid with the criminal element. That was, how he was conceived, right? We speak against, kids being raised without father figures in their life, right? His father was murdered, I believe, right? He was raised without a father. We speak on how men that are raised in mother-led homes end up being unemotionally regulated and sassy, right? That's this guy. We talk about those men going and creating homes, not marrying women, creating broken homes. That's this guy. Like, everything that we speak against, not marrying women, not having, nuclear families, everything we speak against, that's this guy.
Yeah.
So I really don't find the need to be like, oh my God, I'm surprised that he did all this shit. I'm not. He grew up in an environment that produces the type of person that he is.
Yeah, I think for me, my first notice of Diddy probably got to be my real in-depth look at him probably was making a band. Because before that, of course, grew up, you knew he was a part of music, but he was just known as the flashy producer type guy. But making a band really showed you like, oh, this dude's a dick.
Yeah.
And I think that was such a real moment for a lot of people. And then it was like, yo, vote or die, no bitch assness. And it was like, it's like, all right. And I immediately in our group chat, I text y'all, I'm like, pride and ego got him. Like that is Diddy
always,
to a core.
Always pride.
I don't give a, like, go read the lawsuit. I read it. I mean, I heard about it. I listened to the news this morning about it. I listened to the press conference. We'll get to the freak offs because I think that is crazy we get to use these words. But let's talk about pride and ego. Too many times, men, we fall. And it's always position of power of like, your pride and your ego will ruin everything you build. This man has built a career. This man was washing the car of the job he wanted. He was washing the car of the man of the job he wanted. To go there, to go to a label, to have to leave, to find one of, no matter what your thing is. Biggie Smalls is a great, amazing rapper. He should be in everybody's top 5. I don't care. I understand if he's not because you probably young and you 13 right now and think whatever, right? But Biggie was a great artist, you know what I'm saying? To give us Mary J. Blige, you know what I'm saying? To his career, he robbed Mike of a Shine album.
Yeah, I mean, he threw Shine in jail. Like, and that's really where I think a lot of guys in my generation, like, even if you rock with him from the East Coast, West Coast thing, so you kind of rock with Bad Boys because you're like, all right, I'm East Coast, right? Yeah. So you rock with him because of that, right? The Shine debacle, I think that turned so many brothers off that was up because we missed, we didn't have Biggie Smalls. Jay-Z was on his ascension. He wasn't Jay-Z yet, right? Nas really wasn't doing Nas things yet. And we was like, yo, okay, like, who's going to be the next up? And you had this guy who sounded like Biggie, and we were just like, man, let's go with it. And it's like, we never got a good product from him. And then he took a charge. Yeah. And not only did he take a charge, but it's like, it don't really seem like he ever... Like, I saw the Shine interview, this is probably like 4 or 5 years ago. It doesn't seem like he was ever really compensated.
Oh, no.
For taking that. And it's like, yo, like, this guy, he's cheap. And I think one of the biggest lessons that men need to learn when it comes to doing dumb shit is that if you are doing dumb shit and you are prideful, you cannot be cheap.
Oh, no.
You cannot be cheap, bro.
You can't. But, yo... When I was listening to the news today and they were talking about that victim number 1 is that they're going to label them like that. Yeah. It sounds like it has to be Cassie because it's like, oh, this person was in a 10-year relationship. To Diddy's lawyer, I understand you got to be the lawyer who earning this paycheck. Yo, a wild time to now be like, all right, Cassie was, she knew what was going on. She accepted all of this. And like now you bashing on her when you could have did this a year ago. Y'all could have paid her a year ago. You could have avoided a lot of this a year ago. And it's like, all right, now and then
pride, like you said, man, pride, bro. Like not being able to say, you know what, I messed up, I screwed up, I did a lot of things wrong. Mm-hmm. I can't make those things right, but what can I do to make it better? Like at some point, humility has to hit.
Yeah,
especially when you've been screwing people over.
Any correlation to a lot of these music execs stepping down from their jobs? You know
what? I try not to say, correlation and causation is the same thing. It is definitely ironic.
Yeah,
it is definitely ironic. And look, I think a lot of these problems did start with the Diageo lawsuit. I think a lot of these problems. I don't know who runs that liquor company, but I don't think they wanted their books to be open. And it seemed like an era of protection that was had for him is no longer exists because this is very targeted towards him. He knows a lot of people. Don't seem like those people are being looped in.
Not yet.
Yeah, it really seemed like this is based on his behavior and his behavior only.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's ironic that with that lawsuit, the music business becoming pretty much it was already a monopoly. They really just don't even give a fuck anymore. They just like, yo,
what y'all gonna do?
We just gonna own everything.
It's only three of us.
Yeah,
and me and my son own two of them.
Yeah, I'm about to say they own two of them. It's only two. It's a duopoly now. It's just two. So I mean, I think blacks. I mean, this is a perfect time for us to try to figure out what can we do outside of music. Because I don't think music is going to pay anymore. And I said this years ago when guys were selling their catalogs. I was like, man, somebody is about to do something to make these songs worth way more. And when you consolidate, you make things, expensive, you can now start charging what you want for a feature.
Well, that I think music is about to be AI ran. I think we're going to get a Rihanna album without Rihanna ever going into a studio.
And if they own everything, they can do that.
I think we're going to get, think about it. If I come to you and I say, hey, yo, I got a huge Instagram following. I'm popping in the streets. I'm doing this. And wait a second, you got auto-tune for me. I give you every rights to help me put out an album just to raise my stock. Because now these companies, they're just a marketing company. They haven't a music company anymore.
Dude, think about how popular a Rihanna album will be 100 years from now.
Oh yeah.
If there was a Rihanna song or a song with a Rihanna's voice, right? Mm-hmm. Because if there was a song right now with Billie Holiday's voice, if there was a song right now with Marvin Gaye's voice, the problem now is that these AI generated music doesn't have soul. I don't know if they'll ever be able to duplicate soul, pain, hurt that we hear in a song. But it's a good chance that you can still get a bop, though.
Oh, yeah. Because all that's calculated anyway.
Yeah, so it's a good chance you could get a bop. So I definitely think that, like, the consolidation there's something much bigger that they want. But with all that being said, Diddy being walked up out of here and a lot of those music execs being walked up out of here, I don't want to sit here and just be like, let's spitball it and make it a conspiracy theory, but it is definitely curious.
It's definitely curious. Before Joe Budden went on vacation, by the way, over a year ago, or when everything first came out about Diddy and the possibility, so it probably wasn't a year ago. It was probably a couple months ago. That's the other thing, how fast this is going on.
No, it's been within the past year because I think January is when that Cassie stuff went off.
No, January is when Cat Williams spoke, and it was like 2 months after that, Cassie dropped. Yeah. So it might have been like March. But when all that dropped, Joe Budden has always said, yo, I've only been to 2 Diddy parties, and he said exactly what he was wearing and what he was doing. And that it was that video that came out. And he was like, I promise y'all I left whatever. He was like, but he said, yo, I was outside singing drunk.
Yeah.
And he's like, I left. And it's so funny that that's what came out. But before Joe Budden went on vacation, he started the pot because he was talking about Tyler. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know, Tyler won. It had to be the VMAs, which was hilarious, by the way. The VMAs are so funny, man. They don't give a damn about music.
No.
But it was the Music Video Awards. And it was cool. They had to move it because of the debate. So nobody was watching it. Nobody knew about it because the debate was on the night before, right?
Yeah.
And so they had it, and Tyler wins Afrobeat Artist of the Year. She goes up on stage, and it was an uproar because she made Chloe Bailey hold her award for it because she said it's too heavy. And Chloe kind of looked at her like, girl, like, but Lil Nas X grabbed it from Chloe, so he held it for her, right? Which I was kind of shocked.
Tyler's a bit of a diva, and I think people are finding that out, and it's throwing them off.
And so Joe Budden started this debate of, he got this conversation about how they keep trying to sell us that Tyler is black, and the girl's not black. He said that since her album came out. So now he's getting into, I don't like her. I think she's a diva. I think she's a little, he was like, I just don't like her. And so people have been saying like, we've been paying attention. She is getting a little princess treatment. Y'all don't want to say it, and I know why we don't want to say it. It's a little bit of colorism in there. You know what I'm saying? Why we might look at her as a little bit diva.
I mean, but she the same complexion as a Rihanna, as a Beyonce.
Yeah. But we talking about African stuff now.
Selling.
I think I'm not.
I see what you're saying.
And part of me, I don't disagree with Joe Budden. I think his last rant was a little bit too much. Like, all right, whatever, man.
She is a little princess. She is a diva, right? But that's always been who Tyler is. Like, even Tyler, what did I just call her? Tyler. That's always been, even when she started with the TikToks, right? Like, she's always been dantily. Yeah. And I think that played a part in her becoming who she was, because I don't think anybody knew she had, somebody probably maybe wrote those hits. I don't think anybody expected those 3 hits. No. That she had, right?
Her album's good, by the way.
So to see this dantily pretty, TikTok famous person actually drop bops and bangers, I think that ascension, and again, right, I think sometimes that's what hate is. I think we use the term hate, but it's actually jealousy and envy.
Yeah.
And I think she caused a lot of that. Now, because even I think the conversation that's going on, like, she's not Afrobeats, right? Like, okay, for one, Afrobeat, look, I get it. It was coined in London. It was a London DJ that was playing music, and he ended up, because it used to go by hip hop.
Well, if you ask Tim's, she said this started way before that in Nigeria.
Well, Nigeria has their own brand of music, but let's be clear, no one had 808s, drums, and beats prior to hip hop.
I'm telling you what Tim said. That. But Tim said, Tim's and all them over there was like, no, Afrobeat started in Nigeria.
I get what they're trying to say, but y'all, the Afrobeats came from hip hop.
Yeah. I don't think they debating that.
Yeah, they're not debating that. So, but what was going on in Nigeria? Because I get their argument. Their argument is a very cultural between Nigeria and South Africans. I don't know if y'all know this. They really don't like each other.
Oh, fact.
Most people don't know that. And I think because if you actually look up, because y'all know I've been listening to Afrobeat since I first heard it. Like when I listened to Dave in the UK and all of them, I found out about it. So I think in South Africa they call it is it Apiano?
Mike did tell us about Afrobeats like a decade ago.
Amapiano. So Afrobeats, well, not Amapiano and Afrobeats, literally the same music. Just one made in South Africa and one is made in Nigeria. So I get the Nigerians being pissed off that a South African won the Afrobeats award. That's the equivalent of Rachel Dozel winning the NAACP Image Award. And that's the equivalent of it.
And this is why I'm getting to that colorism part.
Yeah.
And because of that, right?
Yeah.
So the conversation is, all right, Tim's wins this award. I think what Joe was trying to get at is like, they trying to sell her as a black girl in this country, and everybody is following Tyler's explanation of being colored and everything else. Shout out to Melissa Ford explaining race, colorism, racism, and ethnicity to us.
Yeah, biracial Canada always.
But she did a great job. I'm gonna give it to her. But I can't trust her takes sometimes because never mind. So when we had this conversation, I got what Tyler's PR publicist was trying to sell us, and I'm not here to argue because I don't know enough. I do know they're trying to sell her as a black woman in America.
Absolutely.
And I think the problem is black people are now getting tired of being sold people are black to us, and it's getting annoying. And also
because they're using us, right? Like, you're selling us Tyler as black But as soon as she takes off and she's popular amongst everybody, because everyone knows that the black gaze is what makes, something pop.
Yeah.
And once we see it, and then once we see it, then white women be like, oh, what are y'all doing over there? Mm-hmm. Then they come over. And then when and there's so many of them that it makes it profitable. And since white men are spending all the money for the stuff that their wives are buying, they be like, well, I guess I'll like this too. And now you're huge and you're big. The problem with that is that when you get there, everyone pretends that it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't the African American that actually started it. So that's what I think African Americans are kind of like. Yo, Tyler, you either gonna buy into the culture or you got to get out of the culture. Stop playing with it. Stop.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then it gets this war on Twitter of blacks versus Africans.
That is like a nuclear right now.
Oh, they going in, and I feel like Africans getting a lick back, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. It was a point in time, especially I'm talking about for me. I can't speak for Mike. In high school, the African kids got picked on and shamed for being African. Whether it was I
didn't go to school with an African kid, but I would say it was definitely a difference when you saw them out.
Yeah, and it was like, yo, you picking on, whether it's there. And I understand how Africans say, hey, we come to this country and we look the same, but you picking at the, how dark my skin is, how my hair is, the way I talk, the way I smell, what I eat. And black people used to alienate Africans in school. And I'm talking about for me in middle school and high school. So I wonder, is Africans getting their lit back? Now they got the hot music, right? Now being dark is in. You know what I'm saying? Now, I know my tribe and culture.
Is that why we're not taking off? We're not dark enough?
Oh, I got our own theories of why we ain't taking off with our appearance. I'm going to fix that shit. I'm gonna fix it, but I just wonder, like, if Africans getting a lick back, because now it is like, I do like, one thing, I took pictures of a girl, and I want to say she was from the Congo, and me and her was talking, and she said the saddest thing I feel when I come to this country is y'all don't know y'all tribe, and y'all don't try to figure it out.
Well, I mean, we tried. Like, everybody blocked it.
But and she said in
emancipation, blacks literally was like about to head to the port cities to get on boats to go back to Africa, and like the United States was just like, no, we're not doing that. It's a lot to that story. Like, I wish people actually just read up. Like, forget the enslavement, because most people don't want to hear about it and don't want to realize how like tragic and brutal it was, right? Mm-hmm. But if you would just read about emancipation, everything that happened, take the Civil War parts out, but just when blacks were supposedly freed from plantations and started their towns and started their banks and actually was working hand in hand with white people. I mean, just Google the Progressive Party of North Carolina. Mm-hmm. Like, just Google that and read that story, and then tie that into I think is it called the Wilmington Riot or whatever? But no, the Wilmington Massacre.
There we go.
And just
even worse.
Yeah, just like tie and like start tying those things together. So I get what people like. People like, oh man, y'all don't even try. Like, no, we tried it, but I mean, they were willing to eliminate every black.
Yeah. The BET Awards is coming up. I ain't got too much to say. I saw the nominations. Don't y'all try to Megan Thee Stallion me to death. I'm sorry. Don't do it.
Has she dropped the album?
She did, and nobody listened. I
wouldn't even been insulting. You said she was nominated. I'm like,
she has the most. Her and Kendrick got the most nominations, and I said Meg ain't dropped no album this year. She dropped the album in like June, bro. Wow. Nobody's seen it, and don't y'all try to Megan Thee Stallion me to death. I know how label games go. I know the Rock Nation
definitely a label game when it comes to Meg.
Well, it's a label game for any artist trying to get popping, but I just love it because there's only like a couple artists that trying to push at a time.
I remember, not to interrupt you, Killer Mike was saying to win the Grammy, he basically, I don't remember where he said it, but he basically was like, he had to campaign for it. He had to politic for it. Mm-hmm. And basically like saying that he had to go and play like private events. And I'm guessing when he say private events, I'm guessing he meaning like kids' birthday party for label exec.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, bro,
that's
like,
a thing.
That's
a thing.
That's insane.
What you think caused Kanye to go crazy? We're gonna have a day one day, and I fear because I don't want to see what this dude becomes after we all apologize to him. Kanye told y'all about Diddy.
Yeah,
he has some choice words about Jay-Z that didn't come true yet. He has some crazy things to say about Kim, which we was like, all right. It's a lot of things. One of Kanye's biggest things his Beyonce rant, his rant against Britney Spears, his rant for Soulja Boy. Kanye said Soulja Boy has had the longest #1 album, a song in the country, and y'all put Britney Spears on the main stage. Why? Because y'all knew she wasn't ready, just to make her go crazy, which happened to Britney Spears right after that. But Kanye used to always say, yo, to win a Grammy, you have to do bar mitzvahs. You have to go to like little private, you got to shake people's hands. You got to be in the right room. Jamie Foxx has a beautiful story about, yo, Sidney Poitier and Oprah came to me when we was trying to campaign for me to win Ray. This shit don't happen by accident.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I believe Killer Mike said that, but Kanye was like, yo, I got out the rat race. I stopped doing whatever, which goes back. I hate to do this. I wanted to Drake say, yo, I'm tired of playing the game. Because what y'all doing to Drake, I don't feel bad for the man, because especially he spit in too many people's faces. And Diddy, when we start going down the line of people you pissed off, was it Kendrick, Drake, J. Cole?
I don't even know
blowing
if
up
Diddy have
Kid
any
Cudi.
friends yet.
Yeah. Like, it's weird, but
hey, to segue between, not to interrupt you, but to segue, and I did interrupt you, the segue between Joe Budden and Diddy. Joe Budden did say something that I agree with.
What's that?
That Diddy was presented as black excellence.
Oh, absolutely.
And we gotta stop. Tell me if you never heard this before. Elevating entertainers and athletes to be black excellence in the black community. We gotta cut it out, man. We gotta stop that.
I want to welcome everybody to the Ask a Black Dad segment, brought to you by No Grease Barbershop. Shout out to them. Shout out to Ed. I can't wait for the Nas day, because I got to tell my Nas story on how it was the first album I ever bought. The question, anonymous. And I stole this from a group. I don't want y'all to think. But if y'all do want to send us a question, it's blackdadsclub@gmail.com. My son, my 10-year-old mixed son, quarter black, quarter Puerto Rican.
Is this from you?
Let me start this over. Don't y'all listen. Y'all better not laugh in the car. Quarter black, quarter Puerto Rican, half white. All right. So I'm guessing he's the black and Puerto Rican. Is being pain about haircuts. Any advice? He really doesn't want me to do it. Doesn't like great clips. See, that's that white part right there.
Yeah.
That's the white part.
Yeah.
Never mind.
That's her.
Whenever his mom takes him there, definitely her.
Yeah.
Now we got to the real story, bro. Hey, bro, I don't even need to finish your question. You asked for tips. First tip: stop taking your son to great clips.
Yeah. Don't do that.
They don't know what they're doing in there.
Yeah.
Even the black girl that's in there, because they always got one black girl that cut hair at great clips. She is trash.
Dude, just give him to Pat Mahomes.
What? Wait.
The
No,
haircut.
he need to take him to a Dominican barber. That's all.
Yeah. Or a black barber. He can get the Pat Mahomes at a black barber shop.
Oh, facts. Go to No Grease.
Yeah, go get the Pat Mahomes, bro. That's all you gotta do. It's easy fix here.
Hey, go see DC at No Grease at Premium Outlets or Northlake. Monday and Tuesday at Northlake. The rest at Premium. And get the Pat Mahomes. Show him somebody cool online. Even though we're going back to our first video of damn, what's my man name? Not Dre. Whatever his name is from the first video, was like, yo, we not gonna follow men on other things. Show him some of them athletes. You can show him Caleb Williams, you can Pat Mahomes, anybody. Say who hair you like. Take him to No Grease, and they got him right, man.
Yeah.
What you don't need to do is great clips.
Do not take that kid.
And don't tell nobody else that you went to great clips either.
Yeah, just keep that to yourself.
Please. Matter of fact,
I feel bad for the kid hair already.
yeah, I know that hair is jacked up.
Yeah, it is.
Great clip. Oh,
he
God.
definitely got the Mark Davis going. Isn't that the Las Vegas Raiders
Yeah,
owner,
the owner,
Mark
yeah.
Davis? He definitely got that haircut
Definitely,
going right
man.
now.
I remember one
kid.
time Jamar went to Great Clips, and I think that was 10 years ago. We still clown Jamar for that. And he fully black. And he was like, that girl, he went to the black girl at Great Clips. His hair was so jacked up, man. He couldn't live it down. Sports segment. Is it time for Tua to retire?
You know what, man? I would never speak on behalf of what another man should do, and not only that, as a man, we will work ourselves into the ground on behalf of our families,
Facts.
especially for high earning. And I guess that goes across all races, and I think that's what Tua is. And this is honestly the power of women. If Tua is to stop playing football, that conversation is gonna have to come from his wife. She's gonna have to tell him, like, baby, we got enough. We'll make do with this. Don't worry about putting yourself in the ground. I need you. I promise you, if he hears that from her, he'll hang it up tomorrow. But he married a little belle from Alabama, and I'm pretty sure she wants more. So good luck to Tua, man. He need to throw that cap on, man. He need to throw that concussion cap. We can't tell gladiators what to do, man. Like, and he's a man. Men will work themselves into the ground. I think it's about time. I would throw the concussion cap on, and just look stupid, but play with that cap on.
Yeah.
And if you get another concussion after that, man, like,
you gotta go.
Yeah, bro. Like 7, 8, 9 concussions, man. Like,
I think if he gets one more, the NFL got to stop it.
They gladiators, man. Like
they are, but you can't have Devin Hamlin happen again.
I think like the accessibility of sports, because we used to hear stories, growing up of like what the hell is going on. Like we used to hear stories like, oh man, they give you a shot, then you go back out there on the field, right?
Yeah.
And then now that we older, we know that like, oh, they actually do be injecting people with Toradol,
yeah,
during the game, and like dudes will play with broke ribs, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever watched a boxing match and seen a boxer get his ribs broken in a boxing match, he pretty much just falls apart.
Yeah.
He's pretty much done after that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, these guys are actually playing with cracked ribs, running into each other at 15 miles per hour, man. Like 2 small cars crashing.
Yeah.
So it is insane. And I think the more we learn of it, the more we're like, damn, this is kind of crazy. But I don't think we could turn our eyes away from it.
Me either, man. What's going on with Sheryl Swoopes, man? We talked about it last week. It seems like
Sheryl Swoopes do not like Caitlin.
She don't.
Clark.
She does not.
She does not like Caitlin Clark, man. And it's very disappointing because I know somebody said Cheryl Miller is the GOAT. I think Sheryl Swoopes is the GOAT, man. And I am, it would be like if Michael Jordan was just bashing every new up and coming ball player, man. Like, I like if Michael Jordan bashed LeBron, I wouldn't be a Jordan fan, right?
Well, you're not one now. So.
Yeah. I'm sort of one. I used to be one. It's still a little bit of nostalgia there, but yeah, Sheryl Swoopes. You can't gatekeep the WNBA, right? Like, because for one, the only people that was really watching the WNBA that was men were like dudes who are basketball aficionados, like guys who just can't get enough basketball.
Older white men.
Yeah, like that's who was paying attention to the WNBA. I think when our girl Dawn ended up at South Carolina, I think that brought in a whole slew of novice black male basketball fans. Right?
Before that, even when Skylar got to Notre Dame.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, we was fans of players, but I think Dawn was when men actually started, like, we really was paying attention, like, oh, let me watch women basketball. So when we come, we still not a lot. So when the casuals come, that's when you get paid, right? It takes the people that are only there when you're winning, right? Because that's when you're gonna make the most amount of money. And then when you start losing, they're going to talk the most shit because they're casuals. And then they're gone, and you're not going to get any support at all. Carolina Panthers is dealing with this right now.
Oh, speaking of, let's just go straight to Bryce. Do the Panthers keep Bryce, and do Bryce get another job after this?
He definitely gets another job. The question for me is Bryce a career backup at this point? The guy, I mean, look, man, the guy's my size. He should have never been drafted as a first round pick.
He shouldn't have.
Yeah, so, and when I say my size, I'm talking like height and proportion. Like, Bryce is definitely in way better shape than I'm in.
I feel bad for Bryce, man.
Yeah, but it's like it was a bad situation. I mean, Bryce should have never been drafted as high as he was. I mean, it was clearly a Stroud draft, and it was really nothing after Bryce. Like, Bryce could spin the ball, but I think he played ball at Matterdine, California. I know he played at one of those hyped up schools out there, which is protected football, right? And then he played at Alabama, which is protected football. And now he's in Carolina. There's no protection in the pros.
Well, this is a losing ass city. First of all, let me go ahead. For anybody that don't know about Charlotte, North Carolina,
hey, man,
we do not build teams to win. Matter of fact, the closer we get to winning anything, we take 3 steps back.
Man, the AAA baseball team, not good. The soccer team was right there.
Yeah,
and then they done fell apart.
They have. Every time the Hornets go to the playoffs, go look at their record.
Hornets going to be good this year. Hornets going to be good this year. Hornets going to be good.
Every time the
Hornets going to be good this year.
IKEA wood, man. That shit ain't going to work. We ain't got nothing.
Hornets going to be good this year.
Look, Mike breaking mics and shit.
Yeah, Hornets going to be good.
I feel bad for Bryce, man. I just, I look at that. What the Panthers had? What draft pick did they have? The third that year?
No, I think that year they had like the 7th pick. I think they went all the way up. Yeah,
yeah. But the thing is, between 7 and 3, nobody was getting a quarterback at all.
Yeah,
that was the problem.
I can't remember which pick, because it seemed like they could have got Stroud and they wanted Bryce,
and it was like, yo. It just seemed like they did a lot to get him, and they
definitely did a lot. They definitely did a lot.
Did too much.
DJ Moore would definitely be helpful on this team. He'd be helpful for Bryce right now, if we're being honest.
If you would have kept the team you had, you would have just got CJ.
You would have
got Caleb. No, you would have got Caleb the next year.
Or you would have got Bryce. I mean, you maybe would have got Stroud. Like if Houston would have drafted Bryce, it was no reason to do what they did. And like I said, I low key feel sorry for Bryce. But I mean, I don't think he's going to be like what's the biggest bust? Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus Russell. He's not that. I know people are saying like his numbers are similar. Like no, he's not Ryan Leaf. He's not Jamarcus. But you know, he could be. I mean, he's looking very Sam Darnold-ish, very Baker Mayfield-ish.
You talking about everybody that's over 6 foot though? This nigga 5'8".
Oh, Baker's not over 6 foot. Baker's like 5'10", 5'11".
Probably in real life, but on his stat sheet, it's definitely got to say 6'1".
Yeah,
that's the thing. Bryce Young's thing says 5'10", which lets me know he's 5'7".
Yeah, he's my size. He's my size.
Apparently, the political race is very close.
Yeah, it is. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for it to be over.
What you think about it being so close? And these people, the Republicans, they want in-state ballot. They want to cancel absentee. We had a clip, man, and they were talking about
Oh yeah, it was Peter Thiel. Okay, yeah, I remember now. Yeah, Well, Peter Thiel was basically saying
if it's close, the Dems gonna cheat.
Yeah, and this is the problem that I have with Republicans, right? Like I told folks last week, I was like, your side keeps enacting violence, right? And I'm not on the Democrat side. I'm squarely in the middle. I am a moderate independent, and I was like, look, if you turn to MSNBC. They're not discussing civil wars. They're not discussing the government confiscating their guns, right? Mm-hmm. So all the violence is being discussed on your side. And your side keep dealing with violent shit, right? You keep dealing with one of your guys going after your guy. So when I see Peter Thiel, which is very irresponsible, Peter Thiel is actually the reason why Elon Musk exists, if anybody don't know who Peter Thiel is. He's the founder of PayPal. So that whole PayPal mafia. Yeah, he's the head guy of it. Crazy enough, conservative, he's actually homosexual.
Okay.
So the guy is the walking conundrum of experiences in life. So, but I like Peter Thiel because he's nefarious as fuck. He's rich as hell, and I like seeing what people like that do. And what I don't like is if for whatever reason November 4th, 12 midnight, November 5th happens. And if the Democrats candidate lost, if Kamala, whatever you want to call it, if she loses, every person on the left will get up Wednesday morning and go to work.
Facts.
That's they're going to accept the results and they're going to go to work. The other side, if their person loses, they're going to say it was cheating and they are going to discuss violence. That is a clear problem in this country that we won't address. And I know why we won't address it is because Euro-Americans are going to have to look at other Euro-Americans and make them accountable for their own actions. And at some point, we have to be clear, right? Because one side will clearly accept the results. They've already did it. They did it in 2016. They accepted the results. Everybody went to work next day. All right? Other party lost. January 6th happened. There is a clear rhetoric that's being preached in this country that we need to address. And when I say we need to address, I'm not talking about our audience of black men. Stay your ass out of this. Yeah. It had nothing to do with it. Let them handle each other. Let them eat each other. Thanks. But as Americans, there is a clear issue in this country that we're ignoring. There's a clear pattern of violence in this country that we are ignoring. And it's coming from the top. One side cannot say if I lose, you cheated. If I win, it was fair. You cannot have a conversation with somebody that has those type of mental gymnastics. That problem needs to be resolved in this country.
Absolutely, man. What you got planned this weekend?
I'm actually gonna be out of town.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. You know what? We go.
Hey, here we go.
We're gonna do the travel vlog. Gab been on me. So things are happening
absolutely.
behind the scene.
Oh, I've been on.
Gab been trying to have a little attitude.
Mike been lying to me for a whole year about what's happening, what's not happening. But we gonna figure this out. Look at this. Some girl sending me some pictures she want me to take. Okay. I try to ask one of these little shorties. I'm like, you want to take this picture? She was like, well, my clothes always gotta be off.
No comment on this.
Oh.
We're not about to. What's the pod that's on the apology tour right now? Faoud and what's the other guy name? Have you seen the European podcast? Oh my God. Oh, what is it? Something ass podcast?
Oh, I don't
You've
know.
seen them.
Oh, probably.
Dude, these two idiots. All right, we're going to wrap it up. These two idiots, two black guys from the UK, very popular pod. They built their audience with women, though. I'll tell you not to do that. You need to argue with me.
That's how I lost my last co-host.
But anyway, they brought on Schultz, the comedian. You definitely have
Marcia
seen.
was telling me that's about this last night. Okay.
Yeah, they brought Schultz on, and Schultz is just an offensive guy. That's it. He's just offensive. He's like Adam 22 telling jokes about race.
Well, like I told her last night, Schultz is a racist and he hides behind comedy. That's how I like it. Solid. I wouldn't disagree with that at all. But what happened?
So they went on his podcast. Why? I have no clue.
They went on Schultz podcast or Schultz went on theirs?
They went on Schultz podcast.
Oh, gosh.
And Schultz started basically cracking jokes on black women. And they were laughing. Now, I'll shoot them some bail. Y'all know I'm gonna always shoot brothers bail, even when you do dumb shit. It was an uncomfortable laugh, right? They were trying to get out of the way of it.
It's on mic.
But you should never have been there. And now they're on an apology tour about what they shouldn't have done. Black men, always remember, you have no friends, bro.
Facts.
The only friends you have are yourself. But it is a reason that we really, really don't do guests, and we really, really have been on other people's stuff.
Do one of dudes have a lazy eye?
I don't know. I mean, it's a decent pod. It's not as good as this pod. But hell, I can't give you one pod not named Joe Budden Podcast that is good as this pod. And they all bigger than ours.
Yeah, facts. But you know what? I told her that last night because she was trying to explain to me who these people is. And she said Andrew Schultz. I was like, oh, he a racist.
Yeah.
He's just a comedian.
Yeah.
But it must have been Andrew Schultz podcast and not Brilliant Idiots with Charlamagne, right?
No, Charlamagne got a podcast with Schultz?
Yeah, they been had a podcast. Like before podcasting was a thing. It's
All
called
right, let's wrap
Brilliant
it up.
Idiots. You didn't know this?
No. You know I don't really follow
They got
Charlamagne.
Yeah, they got a real podcast. It's been before. It's at least Angela Yee was still there. It was pre-COVID.
That's it.
A podcast. But it keeps changing. It's gotten better. The production
That is
has
like
gotten
me
better.
and Nick Fuentes having a podcast together.
Well, you know how Charlamagne play. But that's your South Carolina brother. Yeah, stick up for him. Stick up for him, black men.
You know, if I can't say anything nice, I don't say nothing.
And with that, man, we're going to holler at y'all next time.
Holla at your boy.
I'm about to have fun.